Physical media. What is physical media? It's something that you have in your collection. A movie, a TV series. It's in your hands for you to keep. And it's something that's been around since the 90s. Well, if you want to go back to the 80s when they started doing VHS, or 90s, I put the dates there so you can see it. I'm doing this improving, so I'm not even doing any scripts, it's just me improving. Anyway, movies. What are movies? Something you see on TV, something that's always there when you want to watch it, if you have a TV, that is. Streaming services. Well, I'm not going to go into streaming services, am I? That's a now thing. People know what that is. But people collected them on physical media. And people liked collecting movies on physical media. So today, what is the topic that I'm going to be talking about? I'll be talking to you about why people keep saying, why is Gen Z talking about physical media? Because that bugs the hell out of me. Because I'm Gen Z, and I've been collecting these films for ages. Obviously, there are people out there that don't really know when these DVDs, some of them got released. Because I can tell you something, DVDs were not made in the 80s. They were made in the late 90s. And that is Gen Z era. Let's discuss it more on this channel. Welcome to AFC. Okay, so this topic really bugged me because I don't know why people are doing that. So, DVD. I have lots of DVDs in my collection. Talking about DVDs, digital virtualized disc. I will be actually showing you some DVDs soon on my new video. But I'm not going to tell you what that video is. All you know is DVD related, okay? So, physical media. Like I said, I am so bugged why people keep talking about Gen Z collecting physical media. The correct question, the correct answer is, why is Gen Beta or Gen Alpha people not collecting physical media? That is the question. I don't like the question Gen Z because Gen Z are the area that DVDs and Blu-rays came out in. Okay? So, I'm going to talk to you about these 3 releases that I've got in my collection. What? Really, why have you got all of these older films in your collection? Why do you do unboxings of older movies when you weren't alive then? People like movies and people don't like movies. But there is one thing that I can tell you for certain. Some people might say that, but there's other reasons why I like collecting older movies. The reason I like collecting older movies, sometimes they appear on TV, but mainly is because the studios distribute and produce movies and put them on DVD or Blu-ray. Now, Blu-rays and DVDs got released in the 2000s, so like there's some DVDs, got released like on the bottom of the DVD sometimes. They might say 2001, 2002, 2003, and it's not even the right area of when the film came out. The reason why they do that is because that's when the film was released on DVD. That's when it was released on DVD. So that is how I knew the movies. It was from DVD format. DVD format is the reason why I collect movies in the first place. DVDs are the reasons why I know all these older movies, like Laurel and Hardy. I knew Laurel and Hardy from Birthmarks. It was a little short thing that was released on DVD. And let's see. Let's go back to Jaws. Jaws is a movie that I seen on DVD. The DVD I seen. Now, my parents showed me this. You know, this DVD release of Jaws got released in 2001. I love this movie. I watched this movie, and I've always wondered why the shark looks like the way it does. And I know why. The reason why the shark looks like it does now, obviously I know now. I didn't know it then. Well, I did know it then, but I didn't, if that makes sense. Like, I knew the shark was robotic, it was robotic, and it was all of that. But, at the time, I got really confused on why it looked like that, the way it did. But to me, some of the scenes were like, oh my god, that's really cool. But, this is a film that I seen back in like 2011 or 10. I loved this film, and I owned it on DVD years ago. And by Universal Studios, and that just was distributed in 2001. 2001. Not all DVDs were released in 1997. If you're talking about DVDs that was released in 1997, you're talking about Twister. All of those older movies. The movies that first got a release on DVD, when DVD was new, in 1997. Gen Z. Anyway, this is Jaws. I love this movie. I think it's a great movie. But that's just a funny little intake of how I got to know Jaws. It was for a DVD release by Universal Studios. And I watched it in 2010. So again, as a Gen Z person, because I'm 21, turning 22 on September, I love this film. I love Jaws. I think Jaws is great. Let's talk about more on the subject. So, movies, DVDs, Blu-rays. Blu-rays, that's not even old. Blu-rays were born in 2006. Blu-rays. Okay, Blu-rays. Now, Blu-rays were a new thing for me because I always collected DVDs. It was cheaper. And Blu-rays were a lot of money when it came out. Like £16, £17 each. It was really difficult. The oldest Blu-ray, well, not the oldest, but the Blu-ray that I have in my collection, I wouldn't say old, it's newish, is the Watch Blu-ray that I have in my collection. That's a 2012 movie. I own that since it came out. Got it, my family gave it to me on Blu-ray, bought it for me on Blu-ray, and I kept the Blu-ray ever since because it's my film and I love that film. The rest weren't really keen on it. I loved the film. The fact I loved it. But again, young. I was the only one that understand the premise of the film and everything. Anyway, I'm not going to keep on. Let's dive into this thing. Blu-rays I carried on later in like 2013. I got a lot of Blu-rays in 2014, 13, that kind of thing. I didn't really collect DVD. Blu-rays I mean. Because it was very dear. It was a lot of money. Anyway, let's go into this release here. Now, if you want to go check out the unboxing for this, you can. It's on my channel. I want to say that this film, the set with all the 7 movies in it, I never knew this. If it weren't for the movie, the Gen Alpha movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, if you were alive when that film came out, then you're a Gen Z person. But 2000... Whoa, let me just rephrase that. That's not what I meant. Alive as in if you were 7 or 10-year-old kind of age, then you're a Gen Z person. If you were 3 or 4, then you're a Gen Alpha person at that time. If you were like 4-3, that means you're a Gen Alpha. In 2011, if you were like 3 or 4, you're a Gen Alpha person. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, let's carry on. But Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 remake. That is what got me introducing to this franchise here. I wouldn't have known Nightmare on Elm Street because I wasn't born in the 80s. I don't know anything. I wasn't born in the 80s, for goodness sake. But I know the film and I know it from Nightmare on Elm Street. But I did talk about that on my unboxing for that. But when certain movies, when they get a release from a remake or something, that is also another reason why I probably know the older movie because of a remake from like 2000 in the 2000s or something. So I know a lot about physical media. I know a lot about movies and a lot about DVDs. I know a lot about Blu-rays. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about Blockbuster, which I don't really talk about. I don't talk about Blockbuster, but I know it already. I don't need to talk about Blockbuster. Why do I need to talk about Blockbuster if I already know about it? And I also know about other things like or HMV. Why would I be talking about HMV? Like, I do talk about HMV a lot, but why? Because I've been there lots and lots of times. That's a good example. I should have said that when I was talking just a minute ago. That on that clip. Oh well, you get what I mean. Like Game Station. Game Station is not a thing now. Game Station was out when they were pushing Xbox 360 games and all that then. And it was physical media. A lot now, you don't do now. Because that now is digital. You can do it through digital for a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or a Xbox Series X. You know, it's very digitalized now. Now I'm not that, because I've been doing this for 16, 17 years now, collecting physical media, Blu-rays, DVDs, 4Ks, which is, again, 4Ks is a recent thing. But people rarely do collect them, but it is a new thing. It came out in 2016, 4Ks. But we're not going to go there. We're talking about Blu-rays and DVDs, because this is the format I grew up with. And I absolutely love these. Now, as you can see, which is the 2000 thing in my collection here? Can you see any? Can you see anything that spots the eye? I can, right there. So this is Supernatural. I knew Supernatural ages ago. I didn't put a unboxing through the channel, unboxed it, and then just randomly watched it. Do you know how much this I did got it on a really good price, but I wouldn't just grab it and then watch it like that. No. I have a lot of experience with this show, and I watched it before. I had it on DVD like 2012 or 13 is the first time I watched this properly on the first season. The rest of them I didn't get to watch. Something like that. Maybe 2014? Sorry, but something like that. Anyway, so why does Gen Z collect physical media? Well, the same reason people collect physical media. Well, the same reason people collect media from the 90s. People collect physical media the same reason because they're Gen Z as well. 1997, that's when DVDs got released. So the real question is, why is Gen Alpha and Gen Beta collecting physical media? For them, that's new. For them, that's new. Not for me. Not for people from 1997 to the 2000s, early 2000s. Think about that. Because that is the important question. I grew up with this stuff. I literally grew up with this physical media. I remember, I was 3 years old when I was 2, sorry. I was 2-year-old when Blu-ray came out. So, I was alive. I was alive when Blu-ray came out. I wasn't alive when DVDs came out, but I know what it is. I know what DVDs is about. DVDs just haven't been just released in 1997. The distributors sometimes released movies, older movies, from like 2007 to like 2000, in the 2000s. They released them a lot. Re-released older movies and put them as a DVD release. So, that's my rant over. That's my talk over. Because I don't like the fact people keep saying Gen Z. Why is Gen Z collecting physical media? I want to stop that because it's stupid. They say it on the news, they say it on thing. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know why they keep talking about that, but that's really silly. It's a silly thing. The real question is, why is Gen Alpha and Gen Beta collecting physical media? That's the question, and that's the thing they've got to point out towards, not that. So, if you like this video, I hope you enjoyed it. It was just me talking. I like talking. If something really annoys me, I just talk about it. Because they talk about this thing is really it's popular, this thing that I'm talking about, which is strange. It really is strange, really. It's just weird. It's just really, really weird. I've been collecting movies for years. Again, like I said, 16, 15 years. I've been doing it for ages now. And it's a silly question. It really is. Anyway. Thanks for watching this video. Why is Gen Z collecting physical media? That is the most stupidest question. The real question is, why is Gen Z? And why is Gen Beta collecting physical media? Answer that one. Answer that question. Not that. Because they grew up. Gen Z grew up with physical media. That's a silly question. Whoever ever made that question is quite silly. That's a quite silly question, to be fair. Thanks for watching, everyone. And another thing. Talk about all of this, but why don't we talk about Generation X? Or Gen X for short. People in their 50s. Eh? Why are they still talking about DVDs or Blu-rays? Why do they collect them even when they, well, it's not their time. It's not their time. So why collect them? Maybe brag about that, eh? Maybe talk about that. Why are older people collecting films that you shouldn't even be collecting because you're too old to collect DVDs and Blu-rays? Because it's not their thing. Think about that. Brag about that, hey? Why are they talking about physical media or Blu-rays and DVDs? That's too new for them. Why are they talking about physical media, Blu-rays and DVDs? That's a new thing for them. Think about that. Brag about that, hey? Maybe. That's a good idea. Or like I said, talk about Gen Alpha and Beta. Why are they collecting physical media, eh? That's not their thing. Anyway, see ya.